Some stories begin with a clear sign of the storm to come, a crack in the foundation, a shadow that lingers too long. But Ted Bundy's story began with a lie, hidden beneath the respectability of post-war America. Born in 1946, Burlington, Vermont, his mother was unmarried, a secret that led to a fabricated family history. Ted grew up believing his grandparents were his parents, and his mother was his sister. This was his first mask, a life built on secrets and deception. Outwardly, his childhood seemed ordinary, a move to Tacoma, Washington, a new stepfather, a new name. But beneath the surface, Ted was a solitary, troubled child. He peered into neighbors' windows, obsessed over knives and dark stories, early signs of a chilling pathology. He was a Boy Scout, considered bright, but struggled to connect with others. The truth of his parentage, discovered as a teen, shattered his identity and deepened his sense of alienation. This fracture festered, twisting into resentment and rage. The polite boy, the good student, the helpful neighbor, all were facades. Behind the smile he mimicked emotion, never truly feeling it. He studied people, learning to blend in, to earn trust, to use kindness as a weapon. The stage was set for a performance so convincing, it would scar the American psyche. Bundy's early life was a study in contradictions. Bright, yet isolated. Helpful, yet hiding darkness. The secret at his core was the seed of something monstrous. He learned to wear masks, to deceive, to manipulate. The world saw a promising young man, but inside, a predator was taking shape. The foundation of deceit would define everything that followed. The monster was not born overnight. It was built, piece by piece, in the shadows. And soon, those shadows would spill into the light. As Bundy entered adulthood, he perfected his mask. Handsome, articulate, charming, he was the image of promise. He studied psychology at the University of Washington, learning how minds worked, perhaps to better manipulate them. He dated women who resembled his future victims, intelligent, attractive, long dark hair. His relationship with Stephanie Brooks, a woman of status, ended in rejection, a blow that fueled his rage and thirst for control. Bundy became more driven, excelling in college, joining politics, even earning a letter of recommendation from the governor. He embedded himself in society, using respectability as his shield. He was hiding in plain sight, darkness masked by charm and achievement. This was the genius of his camouflage. He was the friendly face, the bright student, the helpful neighbor. Evil wore the face of normalcy. He understood the social contract and exploited it with chilling precision. Bundy's duality was his greatest weapon. He was not a shadowy figure in the night, but the man you'd trust with your groceries. He used people's faith in goodness against them. The world never suspected the monster behind the mask. His darkness was concealed by a resume of promise, and that is what made him so terrifying. The mask of normalcy was nearly perfect, until it wasn't. After college, Bundy set his sights on law school, seeking status and knowledge to outwit the system. At the University of Utah Law School he left behind his old life, but not his darkness. By day he was a mediocre student, by night, a predator consumed by violent fantasies. He lived a double life, using his respectable image as cover. His methods grew more cunning. He wore a fake cast, used crutches, asked for help, preying on empathy. His charm and apparent vulnerability were his deadliest weapons. Bundy was not impulsive. He was a meticulous planner. He studied his victims, understood police procedures, and crafted personas to deflect suspicion. As he once said, "You feel the last bit of breath leaving their body. You're looking into their eyes. A person in that situation is God." His motivation was ultimate power and possession. His legal studies were not for justice, but to master the game against society. Bundy's intelligence made him more dangerous. He turned kindness into a trap. He was always one step ahead, hiding his true nature behind a scholar's mask. The law was supposed to protect people, but for Bundy it was just another tool. The deception was complete, until the violence could no longer be contained. In the early 1970s, Bundy crossed the line from fantasy to reality. Young women began to vanish from Washington and Oregon. Linda Ann Healy, Donna Gale Manson, and more. The pattern was chilling. Bright, beautiful women, gone without a trace. Law enforcement struggled to connect the cases, and Bundy exploited the gaps. He was a ghost, moving between communities, careful and methodical. His audacity peaked at Lake Sammamish State Park, where he abducted 2 women in broad daylight, introducing himself as Ted. This was no longer fantasy. He was actively hunting, growing bolder with each crime. The move to Utah didn't stop the violence, it simply shifted the location. The monster had changed hunting grounds, leaving a trail of fear and cold cases behind. Bundy's descent was complete. The predator was now fully unleashed. Bundy's violence spread across the country: Utah, Colorado, Florida. Names like Nancy Wilcox, Melissa Smith, and Karen Campbell joined the list of the missing. His luck ran out in 1975 when a traffic stop revealed his murder kit. Arrested for kidnapping Carol Durant, he was soon linked to murders in multiple states. Bundy escaped custody twice, once by jumping from a courthouse window, once by crawling through a jail ceiling. Each escape added to his dark legend. He fled to Florida, where his violence would reach its horrific peak. The nation was now gripped by the terror of a killer on the move. In Florida, Bundy's desperation exploded into violence. On January 15, 1978, he broke into the Chi Omega sorority house, killing 2 women and attacking 2 more in minutes. The brutality shocked even seasoned investigators. He attacked again that night, leaving another survivor with permanent injuries. Weeks later, he abducted and murdered 12-year-old Kimberly Leach. The manhunt intensified as Bundy grew reckless. On February 15th, a routine traffic stop ended his freedom for good. This time, there would be no escape. The evidence was overwhelming. He left behind a bite mark that would seal his fate. Bundy's arrogance and rage led to his downfall. The hunter was now the hunted. The game was over. The nation could finally breathe, but the horror he unleashed would never be forgotten. The mask had finally slipped. Justice was closing in. Bundy's trial was a national spectacle, televised, sensational, and surreal. He represented himself, turning the courtroom into a stage. He smiled for cameras, cross-examined witnesses, and played the part of the wronged man. But the evidence was damning. Survivor testimony, forensic proof, and the infamous bite mark. The mask began to crack as the truth emerged. The jury saw through his act, finding him guilty of the Chi Omega murders. Judge Cowart delivered the death sentence, calling Bundy's wasted potential a tragedy. Bundy's final performance failed. The charm that once protected him was powerless against the facts. The world saw not a misunderstood man, but a remorseless killer. The trial ended the myth of Bundy's invincibility. Justice had spoken. The curtain was falling. The monster was unmasked. The end was near. On death row, Bundy continued to manipulate, granting interviews, marrying, even fathering a child. As execution neared, he confessed to dozens of murders, trading information for time. He spoke in detached, clinical terms, never showing remorse. He claimed responsibility for at least 30 homicides, though the true number remains unknown. "I'm the most cold-hearted son of a bitch you'll ever meet," he finally admitted. These confessions were his last act of control, not redemption. He relished the attention, holding power over the narrative until the end. Even in his final days, Bundy's manipulations never ceased. January 24, 1989. Outside Florida State Prison, crowds cheered as Bundy's execution approached. Inside, the once arrogant killer was reduced to fear and trembling. His final words were simple: "Give my love to my family and friends." At 7:16 a.m. the switch was thrown. Bundy was gone. His legacy shattered illusions of safety, a new understanding of evil's face. He forced law enforcement to rethink how they hunt serial killers. The shadow he cast lingers in our culture, a chilling reminder that monsters can hide behind the most ordinary masks. The curtain fell, but the horror endures.